How do we get to be an author? We can tell ourselves forever we're going to write a book, but how do I start writing a book? That's what we're into today at Live on Purpose TV. So for about 10 years, I told myself, I'm going to write a book. I am going to write a book. I've got a book in me. Have you ever thought that? Okay, that was a problem for me because every time I said it, it was true. I'm going to. See how that can always be true? Well, it's not happening now, but I'm going to someday. Have you got a book in you? And my guess is, if you're watching this video, you're probably thinking about it. So let's see what it takes. How am I going to get it done instead of just having it be something out there in the future? The first thing, rewrite that phrase. I had an experience that changed this for me because I realized in this experience that I had that I was telling myself something that was not serving my progress. I'm going to write a book. And what changed for me is the phrasing. So instead of I'm going to write a book, I am an author. Now think about the difference between those two phrases. And you know what? At first, it felt like I was lying to myself. But the experience had to do with a friend of mine who is a New York Times best-selling author. Her name is Leslie Householder. And Leslie, if you're watching this, I just love you and your work. And this made a difference for me when Leslie talked about telling the truth in advance. And it had to do with her becoming a New York Times best-selling author, which she wasn't at the time that she started saying it to herself. But the mind is an interesting thing because we're giving it marching orders all the time. And whatever we tell our mind, it's like, aye, aye, Captain. I'll make that happen for you. And saying that I'm going to write a book, it's like, yeah, that one's easy. You're going to. We're on board. Changing it up. So Leslie told the story about how one of her coaches told her, hey, get from, I'm going to and wishing and it's all in the future to let's make this present tense. Let's attach a little bit of emotion to it. I am a best-selling author. And she felt like she was lying to herself until she figured out, wait a minute. If that is true someday, then it is true. And I am telling the truth in advance. Interesting. That does something to the mind. Because now, aye, aye, Captain. Okay? Your mind is going to put some things in place for you to actually pull that off. That's the first step. What are you saying about this? That you're going to write a book or that you are an author? And you can add the bells and whistles like I'm a best-selling author, or I'm an influential author, or I'm a productive author, or I am an author of whatever. Okay? Tell the truth in advance, at least to yourself. Okay? So that's going to get the psychology behind you. Now, once I changed that phrase, my mind started working on making it true. Because I didn't feel comfortable saying I'm an author if I'm not. Well, what does an author do? An author writes. Interesting. I wasn't writing at the time. I mean, I'd write little things here and there. I had a blog post. I did a little Empower message that went out to my subscriber list. But I wasn't writing my book at that time. At least I didn't think I was. Here's something that'll get you started. And I did this, and it launched the whole process that culminated in my first book. I'm calling it the Author's Book Tour. Because authors go on authors' book tours, right? I'm not talking about the kind where you go sit in Costco and sign your book for everybody. I'm talking about the one where today or tomorrow, I don't know what time you're watching this video, you got to find out when the bookstore is open. Why is that important? Because you're going to do your author's book tour at your next available time. Might be today. It's something you can do today. That's why I'm putting it in the present, okay? Here's what I did. My office sits right here. Barnes & Noble is about 3 blocks that way. The biggest bookstore in town. So I scheduled my office book tour for right after I finished here at the office. I went over to Barnes & Noble. Here's what you're going to do. Go into the bookstore and look for your book. Why are we doing this? Because your book is going to be somewhere in that store, right? Now, I don't care if you ever market through Barnes & Noble. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you walk into a bookstore, where are you going to go? Are you going to the children's books? Maybe. I didn't. That's not the kind of book I had in mind. You see what I'm talking about? Well, is it over in home and gardening? Nope, it's not there either for me. Is it over in the baking section in the cookbooks? Nope, that's not where my book, where's my book? See, this helped me to start defining where's my book going to be in this environment of other books. I headed over toward the psychology and self-help. Okay, that makes sense to you, right? Psychology and self-help. Because that's where my book's going to be. Now, where's it going to be on this shelf? Is it going to be with sexuality and intimacy? No, not that bold yet. Is it going to be over here with alternative medicine? No, it's not going to be there either. And I honed it down to a section where my book would be in this positive thinking and mindset kind of area. So you see what I'm talking about? I'm finding my book in the bookstore. When you get to your section, try to picture, where's my book going to be? Is it going to be between these two? And you can start sorting by author, last name. I mean, get that specific and find out the environment where your book would be if it were already sitting on the shelf at the bookstore. That's a powerful experience in and of itself. Here's the rest of the author's book tour. Select from that shelf, around and nearby where your book's going to be, 6 or so titles that speak to you. Titles that might be similar. Titles that are complementary toward your particular subject. And take those 6 books off of the shelf, get a little stack of them, and go find one of those overstuffed chairs there at Barnes & Noble. Plop down and start looking at those books. Now here's what I did. I took a little digital image of the cover and of the table of contents. And then I thumbed through each of those books a little bit just to get a feel for the layout and the length. And as I did that, some of them spoke to me more than others. Some of them resonated with me at a level of, yeah, that's kind of like my book. Whichever one resonates the most with you, purchase that book. And so the book that spoke the most to me was this one. This is Mark Muchnick, No More Regrets. And for whatever reason, Mark's book, and Mark, if you're watching this, reach out to me, we need to talk. No More Regrets, this spoke to me more than all of the others. The length of it, the feel of it, kind of the layout, the energy that I felt from this book spoke to me more than the others, so I bought this one. I went home, I read it, I studied how it was created, just got a feel for the book itself, and then this became part of the inspiration for my book. Now, what's next? The author's book tour, by the way, is a lot of fun, and it's very illuminating. You're going to learn a lot about yourself and your book by doing that. Now, what's next? Set an appointment. Set an appointment. Do you keep your appointments? I hope you do. I do. I keep my appointments. If I've got an appointment in my calendar, I'm going to keep that appointment, right? Where is my writing appointment? See, at the time I didn't have one, but after the author's book tour, the next thing that I did was set an appointment with myself. It's a writing appointment. Keep your appointment. Okay? Pick a time that serves you well. I'm a morning person. My best thinking, my creativity, my production happens in the morning. I wrote my entire doctoral dissertation before the hour of 7 a.m. And it's because that's when my brain is on. That's when I work. What day? Well, Saturday is going to be best for me because I don't have other conflicting schedules on a Saturday morning. My family doesn't want me as long as it's before 7. Right? You see where I'm going? So my writing appointment was from 5 to 7 a.m. on Saturday. And it repeats every week. Okay, now I knew I was on track. Some of you are going to hear that and you're going to be like, no way, I'm not getting up at 5 o'clock on a Saturday morning. Well, that to me works because that's when I don't have other conflicts. That's when my mind is the most creative. That's when I'm going to get my best work done. And I knew I was on track when Friday night came around. And I couldn't wait. I felt so excited. Now, if you're dreading it, then you need to find a different time, okay? Or you're not in tune with your topic yet. But if you feel excited, if it's going to get you out of bed, and I didn't even need an alarm, quite frankly, because I was so excited to get engaged in that process. And I kept that writing appointment. If you don't know what to write, then write that. Honestly, it's okay for you to sit down and type into your word processor, I don't know what to write. Get yourself writing whatever it is that comes to your mind because that's going to loosen up other ideas and it's going to start to flow and then pretty soon you've got some content coming. Now, I told you, I mentioned a word processor because that's how I chose to do it. The next note that I have here is pick a method that works for you. And I had to remind myself of this because not everyone is going to be proficient or comfortable sitting down at a keyboard and letting their fingers do the writing. That works great for me because I can type almost as fast as I can talk. And so that works for me. And I can create a lot of content and it flows freely and there's no encumbrances. There are softwares out there, there are programs, there are transcribers. If it's easier for you to speak it, then speak it. And then go on Fiverr, Fiverr.com or some other website where you can hire someone for a very low cost to transcribe your words into text. Get it out there somehow. Use a method that works for you. 2 other suggestions, and I'm going to let you go write or do your author's book tour. You might want to do that today. The next suggestion is to engage other people on your team. Now, this might be editors, proofreaders, graphics designers. There's people out there who can do the parts that you're not very good at. But the other thing is you want to put some other minds onto this. And I hired a creative editor. Big kudos to you, Thomas Cantrell. Thank you so much for the good work you did with me at this phase of the creation process. Get someone who can look at your ideas and give you feedback about it. Now, this is risky at first because what you're writing becomes your baby. And you don't want to show your baby to someone and have them say, oh, your baby's ugly. And some people will, okay? They're not your audience, but other people will give you some nice, accurate, helpful feedback about your ideas, about how you're presenting them, about other ways you might want to go with it to increase your audience, whatever your audience is. So engage people on your team. I mentioned Thomas Cantrell, who's my creative editor and a brilliant man. And there are also about 30 other people that Thomas and I gathered to help review certain ideas or the text after we got it all drafted or to give us feedback and editorial comments and do proofreading. Probably about 30 or so people contributed to the production of my first book. So engage some other people, be open to that, be humble enough to give it a try, and get a thick enough skin that you can get some feedback about your writing. Now, one last thing. I want to comment about the value of visualization. This is a powerful way to give your mind a direction to go, a goal to work toward. You have to be able to see it. We started that process in the author's book tour. Remember when we went to the bookstore and we tried to visualize where's going to be the book, where's it going to be on the shelf, what books will it be next to, what's it most like? That helps with the visualization. but I'm talking about a very specific visual creation of what you're making. Okay, so I hired a graphic designer to do the mock-up of my cover, and she sent me a very rough draft of that. It's all Latin filler on the back, and the first draft of the cover for Pathological Positivity, I printed it out on a piece of paper and I taped it to somebody else's book. It's a physical first copy of my book, and it's not even my book, but it helps me to visualize what I'm creating. Does that make sense to you? This made it more real for me, and I felt almost as excited to see this copy as I did to see this copy. And this is the proof copy that I got back from CreateSpace. Incidentally, I'm a big fan of CreateSpace. It's an Amazon company that allows you to self-publish, and they do print on demand. I published my first book through CreateSpace, and you get to do a draft copy. Once you finish all your manuscript and you've got all your design and everything, they send you an actual copy of your book. And this is the first one that I got. This is the draft copy. I made some other revisions after this, and then it manifested as Pathological Positivity. And I can say now I am an author, and it's not telling the truth in advance. It's absolutely true. And I've published a book every year for the last 3 years. It's a life-changing experience to write that book. Let's see what we can do to get out of our own way and actually make that thing happen. Hopefully these ideas have been helpful. Okay, I have to admit, I had a selfish reason for doing this video today because I want to read your book. Post your book idea down below. I'll see if I can help you out.